What are we paying for those?
Sorry, we need to get out of here. Just trust me when I tell you.
We're standing at a dealer's window. All of a sudden, we noticed there was a group of guys across the street from us looking dead at us. One of them crosses the street, circles us, starts looking at our wrists, starts seeing what we're wearing. This is where it got sketchy for me.
We're in London. We're going to time in London. It means we're going to spend some time in London. It's at the back entrance, whatever the that means. Paul sent me a voice message this morning. Roman, it's going to be in the back.
What's going on?
You alright?
Yeah, did it start?
Did it looking good?
This is the goat of watches. Every single week I watch it.
We're based in Poole in Dorset, just over a decade old. Roll tanks over them, we blow them up, we do all kinds of things. We had one in Poole Harbour for 6 months, came out like a barnacle. We blew one up last week with 400 grams of explosive. It blew up.
Sounds like you have a fun job.
Yeah.
I don't do that with my watches.
Apparently they blow watches up and run them over with tanks. What would happen to a Rolex if I ran it over with a tank?
This is our biggest collection, which is Holton, and this we made in conjunction with the Special Forces in the UK. It has its own NATO stock number, whereas that particular one has its own stock. So it is issued as kit to the military. And we do it both in quartz and automatic, and now in a GMT auto as well. And then this we launched last year, which is our Beachmaster, and this was born out of a conversation with the Marines. On beach landings, there is a guy called the Beachmaster who organises where everyone's going, what they're doing, and he counts down to mission start, up to mission completion. And the question
That has the functionality.
Yeah, so the question was, can we do a watch that has that on it? So we have a patent on the timing mechanism in this movement, and again we do it in both automatic and quartz. But that's been a huge halo product for us. It's
amazing. What is the price point on the watch?
In sterling is about 400 to 2,500. But everything has got what we call the movement shield system in it. So it has a shock absorption system.
Well, I mean, you're blowing these things up with tanks, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
We are an Italy-based company. We make Swiss-made watches, 90% with Sellita movement, and we have mainly 3 collections. This is the vintage one with 3 hands. 3 hands like this, GMT and chrono, manual winding. 3 hands, we have many colors version, but here we have just a few pieces.
Tell me about 1956.
1956, because we are inspired by the Dolomites and the places near our house. Cortina is the country that held the Olympic Games in 1956. So we made a vintage collection inspired to that event. We have a chrono GMT, so it's a complication of the chronograph with the red hands of the GMT. Here we have the field watch with 3 hands and the big moon. It's a moon phase. It's a rounded moon, 3D, with 2 red arrows that show you the phase.
What is the price point on
the price point between €600, tax included, up to 2,000 for the chrono GMT. The price of the chrono is 1,690.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
Tell me about these watches.
We're almost 10 years old. We try and be very meticulous in what we do. So we work with the Campbell Family Heritage Trust. So we have here the Bluebird CN7. So we do a Bluebird watch, which is one of our best sellers. Sapphire crystal. It's powered by a Toyota movement. We sell it at £369. We call this the track day. We range from £369 to majority here is $399.
This watch here is an 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗯𝗍𝗂𝗃. It's definitely not inspired by this, which is a Casio, right?
Okay.
And I know a lot of people complain about the waiting list on watches. I had to wait 5 minutes for this. That was 5 minutes of my life to get this watch.
So which one is this inspired by?
Probably the one next to it.
No. It's probably inspired by a brand called 𝗴𝗿𝗲𝗆.
A brand called 𝗴𝗿𝗆𝗀, which is German.
No, that would be Swiss.
𝗴𝗿𝗆, but it's German, the German language. I'm not going to argue with you because you're bigger than me.
Yeah. It's a really good interpretation, and the reason I say that is because
Yes.
I'm actually wearing one.
You're wearing one there, right? Great, wow.
So you see the resemblance.
Exactly, and this gets back to my original point. Cheap, nasty Chinese knockoff of probably what is a very expensive watch. How much does that watch cost?
About 120,000.
What pounds? £120,000.
Dollars.
This cost £12. 12.
Not a bad deal.
£12, right?
But not bad, huh?
Not bad.
So how much is this?
I think these are around £2,000.
£2,000.
£2,000 or £12.
That's a lot of savings.
As you can save a lot of money.
They allow a lot of the micro brands, less known brands, to display their product directly to the consumer. A lot of the vendors were actually selling watches at that show. Once again, for all of you guys that I met at that event, it was a pleasure meeting you, pleasure hanging out with you, and I had a great time. The Diamond District of London is a place where wealth and desperation dance a very dangerous tango. It's not the diamonds or the watches that make it dangerous, it's the people. This place has its own rules, its own rhythm. You gotta keep your eyes open, because in the Diamond District, the real treasure isn't what's in the window. It's making it in and out with your wallet and your life intact sometimes.
$59.90.
How much $59.90?
The $59, it's expensive, mate, to be honest. I've had it a while. Probably not going to work for you. I feel like it's going to be way too high. But there could be something else we can do on. About the $5.80 Rose, new class, 22.
How much is the one on the strap?
That one is also too high.
Got it. How much is the green Royal Oak?
The green Royal Oak, I have two. One of them is the 2250th and one of them is the 23. So the 2250th, asking 62, and the 23 I want 60 for.
And then the little tantalum Royal Oak next to it?
Beautiful watch, that. Really, really nice. I want 12,000 for it.
I have to convert to dollars in my head.
Yeah.
The green Royal Oak on a strap. One is a 22 anniversary, the other one is a non-anniversary. What are we paying for those? You know what I mean? Like he's asking 62 pounds for one, the anniversary, and 60 for the non.
Sorry, we need to get out of here. Just trust me when I tell you.
We were standing around looking at watches. All of a sudden, a couple of them guys came around, circled us. You know what I mean? And they're like checking us out, and I see him going on his phone.
No, I'm not bothered by it, but we've got a guest there.
We're standing at a dealer's window. All of a sudden, we noticed there was a group of guys across the street from us looking dead at us. One of them crosses the street, circles us, starts looking at our wrist, starts seeing what we're wearing. We noticed he started texting someone. So we had to take precaution and pretty much get out of there ASAP. Now we're heading over to Gray's Market, which felt a bit safer than the last place we visited.
We may as well come and see you because we're doing buy one get one free.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what they do in London.
So what's selling around London besides Rolex?
To be fair, you know how it is.
Fastest mover.
Yeah.
What do you need for it?
10k, a bit high.
9 might work. Okay, what year is it?
2022, completely unworn with box and paper.
So you said 10 pounds, so that's what?
It's about 12,800-ish.
Pound's quite strong at the moment.
I agree.
Sorry, Roman, let's just move in here a minute. Oh, getting a bit too close for comfort.
Yeah, a little too close for comfort there.
Sorry, it's a tight shop.
Yeah. Spence, where are you? Come here. This really little piece and that one.
What is the snowflake then?
So that's a 7021 watch only on the NATO, and then the other one's with box and paper that says 9411.
What are you asking both those?
This one I need 65.
Can I see the date, Gus? This is nice as well, Spence, look.
That's Steel and Rose gold, and we have a Steel and Rose, another one, 1601, both of them. That's got Sigmund on.
It's funny, your prices, the prices I would pay, but in dollars. Because of your stupid VAT, it's literally that.
Yeah.
Once I convert the currency, the difference becomes the VAT you guys pay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
some pieces I can purchase here.
Yeah.
Right? But for the most part, I look at the price and I'm like, okay, if that was in dollars, it would work.
Sure.
And the difference between the currencies, what?
£8 a pair.
No, I'm saying...
That's around the time you fellas went to high school, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So it's actually not bad. Like the two-tone.
No.
They're about like 8 to 10,000 depending on condition. Box of papers in the US.
Not bad.
So this is coming out to 9,700 US.
Sorry, what are these again? The best on these?
The 5k on the Steel and Rose gold.
Yeah.
5K on the UAE dial again.
Yeah.
And that one's, I can do 4,000.
Could we get anywhere near 15 for the 4?
He also has to make a profit, right?
If you give me halfway, I'm happy to knock off. So that's 19, you want me to do 17.
Sorry, what did you say, 17 or 17 and a half, did you say?
17 for
17.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so let me see here. 17. I'm going to back to my app, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me think about those.
No problem.
I'm just curious if you have any of the original English drum watches, the ones that date back to 1600s. Any of those around, or
just sold one?
Just sold one.
Just sold.
I just want to. I mean, consider.
Another one, very, very interesting. I've got Oliver Cromwell's watch here.
Oh.
You have that here?
What a company.
Can we see it? Tell us about this. What is this?
This is a Grand Tour piece. This you went on your Grand Tour when you 18 to 20, either with your nanny or with your parents, and you travelled from Belgium, France, all the way up to Italy. And on the way, you normally collect various different souvenirs. You'll end up in Italy, go to Florence, where the cabinet makers were, give them all your bits and pieces that you bought on your Grand Tour, hopefully, and they would make a memory piece for you. And it would be shipped back to you 2-3 years later, and you'll have a memory of your trip. It's about 1830 to 1850.
So they made you a storage cabinet for your knickknacks. Did they embed any of the knickknacks into the piece? Like
no. So sometimes you turned up then you haven't bought anything on the way, and they had departments where they would sell you bits and pieces. You choose what you want, and they'd put everything together. And if you close it, you leave it at home. It looks like nothing. No one's going to steal it.
Yeah. So how much is this?
89,000.
89,000. Beautiful. So how did you find Oliver Cromwell's watch?
Speak to my son, he found it. Found it in a sale.
That's beautiful.
You found it in a sale?
This is it. Puritan watch.
Oh my God.
It was given to one of his generals in the Battle of Cromwell in Ireland. They lost the battle, by the way. And he took it off his chatelaine and gave it to him. And it's passed down through the family to when it was put into auction. And the last time it was seen was in 1812. And there was an article on it in the Gentleman's Digest.
Have you been here since when? 1976?
1976.
Well, hang on. I found something I like. It's one of the original 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗯 chronometers, World War II era. So this is chain fusee.
Yeah, Brixton, you know.
It's like in perfect condition. I would like to purchase that. Give you a credit card, yes?
What's the very best we can do this one at? 2.8.
That was my chronometer regulator on it.
We bought a World War II era 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗯 chronometer. I asked if he had it, and he goes, oh, as a matter of fact, I do.
How much is green?
Green one we can do it for 175.
Sold one for 600,000. What do you need an ARM 1103?
250.
250.
Yeah, no, 5960. That one we can do 105.
Difficult to strike deals in London due to the currency conversion as well as the VAT that's in London, but I did end up walking away with a beautiful World War II era 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗯 chronometer.
So 𝗴𝗿𝗲𝗆, but we've got a Roman one as well. These are like 5 to 7,000 years old. They've been found in Mesopotamia and places like that. And
the variety here is insane. I've never negotiated for a penis in my life.
Oh, then you haven't negotiated.
Never once have I negotiated over a penis. I gotta be honest.
Spencer and Paul took us to a place called the Silver Vault, right? They're literal underground vaults, and majority of the place is silver. There are a few dealers in there that deal in watches and jewelry, but there was an interesting story there involving the assassin of Abraham Lincoln.
This beer.
Yeah, but it's probably, you've got to remember in those days, it's probably
ale
given as a presentation.
Yeah.
You know, it's the equivalent of the 19th century sort of watch and
gold watch from
pen.
time and or whatever.
You know, I think it had a sort of more symbolic aspect. I mean, it's too big to...
You wouldn't drink ale out of something that expensive
if you
at the time.
Exactly,
This is about your days.
Yes, our 5th birthday.
It was your 5th birthday, yeah?
That's to make you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's actually even older. That's 1673, but smaller.
Condition.
Yes,
I mean, silver is a pretty durable metal if it's kept. This wasn't a trinket, this was an expensive thing that's kept over
Yeah,
ages.
it's interesting you say that, because sometimes your silver of the 18th century is to be found in better condition than things like brass or more household things, because people sort of treasured it.
But the pieces that are here, these were all very, very expensive pieces for the time.
Yeah, oh, I mean...
So they were treasured, obviously.
Compared to the value of them in their time, they'd be worth a whole lot less today in most terms. I mean, when that was made, that spoon, I mean, not that... Why they're rare at this date is that silver in today's money, probably before the opening of the New World's Mine, was somewhere... New World's Mine, I should say, rather than wine. That was a £2,000 in today's money. That's a sort of £2,000 gift.
Oh my God!
You know, they don't, in those times. If you had that in your house 70 or 80 years later, it'd be a very valuable piece of metal, but a very old-fashioned looking.
So they would scrap it.
It'd be like this man buying a very expensive silk shirt in 1977 with lovely flyaway collars, and then by 1980
he has some of those
he's still got some. But
so would you say the odds of these being melted down for the value of metal were pretty high at those times? You said, like, say, some 80 years later.
Oh yeah, I mean the value of the metal was still high. But there's a thing, you see, you can buy a spoon, you know, I mean that's if you and your sister were dividing that between you, see there's a spoon from 1778, which is roughly the time, and there's a spoon from 1528, that's 20,000, that's 90 quid. So I mean you can buy a spoon from the early 1700s, middle 1700s, probably for a quarter of the price they can make it new for.
And is it because it's also how many survived?
There's enough, I mean put it this way, I mean that spoon from 1788 is too good for 90% of the population, but not really good enough for a hardcore collector. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's sort of stuck in that sort of middle world. They're wick trimmers. In the old days, when the candles burnt down, they were all made of animal, smelly, you know, quite smelly animal fat. As it all burnt down, the guy who made this, his brother was the grandfather of John Wilkes Booth, who did for old Abe. Was he in the theatre 1868?
Yeah, I'm mind blown. That'd be for eating some type of a shellfish, not some kind of nuts or snails or.
No, a bone marrow.
Bone marrow, okay.
Yeah, they used to sort of
scoop it out.
Scoop it out, and that's a.
You can scoop out the bone marrow.
That's cheese. Stilton cheese.
How much would I pay for that clock?
Makes it even better.
If I was able to buy it, I would probably pay $1 million for it. But if something like that were to go to auction, which it never does, you never have architectural clocks that go into auction because they belong to buildings, most of them are historic, right? Theoretically, they're priceless. We're gonna go in there and see if we can strike a deal with a company that's 120 years old, and I'm sure they might want to sell. We're looking at a Breva. I think it's fucking amazing.
Good.
I'm actually happy to meet somebody that appreciates complications versus hype. Wow. I mean, I've watched bits and pieces of like social media when you were building the place. It's very difficult, you know, to imagine it live. Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
So we have everything here. We have all the papers. Everything's coded, so we can go back to where it is.
See one thing. So okay, so it's so funny how great minds think alike. So if you went into my safe, I don't have closed shelving. I have open shelving. Similar boxes. There's a tag on the watch, just like you have, and then here we have an insert. So it doesn't go on a tray itself, so we can reuse the trays. We have a small plastic insert that goes in that has the same tag as the watch. So the minute a salesperson comes out, my logistics manager says, they pull out whatever watches, she can scan them all out, and she knows who has them. And what she does, instead of having to peel it off every time, she just pulls out the little plastic tag. She puts it in a bin like this, and when they come back, she matches them back up and puts it back in.
I need you to sell that for me. That's a US.
I knew what he was going to say. I knew he was going to say that. So with Arnold Schwarzenegger's relationship with Audemars Piguet, which he's actually the biggest ambassador in terms of number of pieces made for a single individual, that carries his name. So they came out with the T3, with titanium, with the white dial, and the blue dial, and then they came out with this monster in rose gold and white gold. The problem with this watch, or any T3 for that matter, is it's the sheer size of it, right? It's a 48 millimeter watch, and then you add diamonds on top of it. Now, one time in its heydays, you cannot get these. They're sold like hotcakes. We'll talk off camera what the cost on this thing is. See if I can find a client, because I actually just remembered I may actually have had a call on this recently. Where was this? Here?
Yeah. So this is how we get all our pieces. This is a nice piece.
I do very well with those.
Oh yeah.
We do very well with the Zenith.
But the weight on it, it's just a lovely
We do well. We do well with the automatic. We do well with the chronograph. The white ceramic does really well for us. The price point works, and it's a gorgeous watch, and it's the El Primero.
So this is how we look after each piece.
What I love the most about it is Spencer told me, like, Roman, when I visited your office, I took a lot of cues for what you got going on in terms of movement of merchandise, logistics, how things are set up, security especially. And I applied it in my own office. Of course, when I got there, I quickly realized that he applied it on steroids, and I in turn took some cues back to some of the things that I can improve in my office. Spencer, big congratulations on a new store in Radlett. If you guys don't know who they are, check them out. They're BQ watches. And if you get a chance to pay them a visit, I highly, highly recommend. With that said, guys, as always, you know we put a lot of effort into these things, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, share this with your friends that you think may enjoy this content, and I'll see you on the next one.